Joined now by the former head coach of the Vancouver Canucks, Marc Crawford, who's been helping us out and letting us know what he sees with his coaching eye after some of these Canucks games. Coach, thanks for the time. Appreciate it, Mark.
Glad to be here, guys. Tough morning for Canuck fans. Tough morning for the Canuck players, too, I'm sure.
Yeah. What did you see last night? What stood out to you in Game 4?
Well, I really loved their third period. I thought, they did exactly what I was hoping they would do in the third period. They got the puck in deep. They really battled for their chances and their goals. And unfortunately, they hopefully learned a lesson last night that, you've got to finish things off, and playoff hockey never gets easier. You just have to continue to battle. I'm just reading what Rick said today, about how many mistakes were made on that last goal. I know I was watching it saying, come on, guys, get tougher, get this puck out, finish the check, get your sticks in the right spots. And there were several mistakes, especially when the puck didn't get out when it came around the boards. And I know it was a bit of a lucky break because it was kept in by the Oilers player's foot. Again, you don't get into the shooting lane. You don't have a stick in the passing lane. You lose the battle behind the net. Those small mistakes, they're usually okay if it's just one mistake on a play. You compensate for it. Somebody else compensates for it. But last night they didn't compensate for us, and unfortunately, give the Oilers credit, they found a way to put that puck in the back. And it was a great shot, actually, great release by Bouchard, and he's been impressive this whole series. So those were my third period observations during the game. The Oilers were the better team, and you expected them to make adjustments, and they did. Making the adjustments of splitting up Draisaitl and McDavid was probably the right thing for them. Now, the Canucks have to make adjustments to the Edmonton adjustments coming forward in this next game, and that's what it's going to be about. You have to have short memories at the best of times in the playoffs, and this is the tough lessons, and the Canucks just have to move forward, and they've been really good in these playoffs, so have some confidence that you're going to be able to respond in the right way.
It's always amazing to me that you play a third period like that, and I'm sure they tried to. I'm sure you have tried this yourself, but guys, you can play like this. You can play on the front foot. You can play with confidence. You can take the play to them. And yet so often in this series, not even just last night, but those first two periods are a great example of they're just letting the Oilers take the play to them. And it doesn't seem like they even have the confidence at times, Mark, to turn the tables until the third. They did. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's part and parcel of, who starts better. And just momentum. I thought there were some big momentum shifts throughout the game. When the Canucks didn't have any momentum from the 4-minute power play,
right? Yeah.
Against Evander Kane when the high stick was called, that was a big shift. And I thought the Oilers got a huge boost off of that penalty kill. And you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, the young goalie Picard is in the net. And hopefully, they can find a way to set up the power play. And that's a difficult challenge for anybody to deal with, is the Canuck power play. But they weren't very good on that one. They didn't get set up. The Oilers were really determined. I thought that was probably the best point in their game defensively, was just how determined the Oiler defense was during that penalty kill. They didn't allow them to enter. They were so hard with them as the puck was coming into the zone, and it looked like it wore on the Canucks a little bit in that. And it took them a while to get back into the groove, because I think they looked and they said, hey, this is a great opportunity for us, and we didn't gain any momentum from it. So those are momentum shifts, and you got to deal with those in the playoffs. And it's almost I used to love it. My daughter was a volleyball player at UBC, and her coach used to always say, you got to have a next point focus. And that's exactly what you have to do if you're the Canucks. You got to have a next shift focus. You've got to park the power play, the bad power play behind you, and you got to get right back and at it. And I know they're trying to do that, but that was my observation. in the game last night, especially during that power play moment.
Best golfers, next hole focus.
Yeah. No, next shot, the most important shot's the next shot. Mark, they held McDavid without a point in game 3. He's really been held in check in 3 of the 4 games so far. And I'm seeing a lot of plaudits come in the coaching staff's way for the way they've gone about designing all this. What are they doing specifically that you're seeing out there on McDavid?
Well, again, they're so aware of what his attributes are. And I think their gaps have been very good from the defensive core, whether it's been Myers or even Juleson last night when he was out there for those few shifts where he was out there again. You've got to have great sticks. You've got to recognize where his abilities are. I mean, he stops on a dime, and I just think they're so aware when he has the puck of what his abilities are, and that focus is what superstar players demand. You have to be great when they're on the ice. Draisaitl has been strong. He scored that same goal. It's frustrating because everybody knows where the pass is going. I used to try and diagnose their power play when I was working in Chicago, and I was running the penalty kill. And you know exactly what's happening. They're trying to carry the puck around. The pass back to Draisaitl is what you want. Yet they just seem to be able to execute when the slightest mistake is made. So, I really like the way that they're gapping. I like the way that the forwards are backside pressuring and helping. I think that the big thing is that the people around McDavid are not being allowed to be open because he's got that world-class skill that he finds people so well, and he can make those pinpoint passes. So it's been a combination of things. And yes, the coaching staff has done a real good job, Adam, Sergei, Mike Yeo, and Rick. But really, you have to compliment the players because the players are the ones that are playing. They're the ones that are out there. And trust me, nothing gets an attention of NHL defensemen than superstar players. They know who the great players are, and they just have to be on their toes and have to be ready to handle the challenge.
As good a job as they've done on McDavid, I honestly didn't think they could do as good a job on McDavid as they have. So kudos to them. But they've had a devil of a time with Draisaitl, who just might be put together in a lab for the NHL playoffs. I mean, I don't know who's your favorite playoff performer to watch, Forsberg, I'm assuming, but when under your tutelage, but what can you do with Draisaitl? He is so big, he's so strong, and even when he's hobbled, which he apparently is, he's still fast enough to get from A to B as well. Like he's just, I mean, he's sort of like a slightly detuned Mario Lemieux in some regards.
He's big, he's strong, and he gets a shot away so quick. And when he does, he gets so much on it. Like, that goal last night, you're saying, oh, God, just like I was saying earlier, where the shot's coming from. But he gets so much on it. And it's such a powerful shot that I think that's as you say, that's the formula for those players that do well in the playoffs. They have to have great shots. They have to be able to hit their spots. The way that Besser's been hitting his spots, and JT Miller, and those types of things. If you can hit your spot, you can get a lot on it. It's when you get that chance, there's just such short timing for that window of the chance to be there that you have to capitalize on it. And certainly Draisaitl has done that. So I think to answer your question, the size, the strength, and the release of the shot, they're usually the things that set people apart. And then again, the power that he's got. I mean, he can handle the battle of big Canuck defensemen like Zadorov and like Susie if he's in the lineup. Those big players handle that challenge a little bit better than maybe some of the smaller players that get thwarted by the power of the NHL defenseman.
Was it Forsberg your best playoff performer? Was it Zach?
He was pretty good.
Yeah, not
you
bad.
Seem to remember you remember those guys that scored for you in the 1997 playoff. Was Claude Lemieux. Claude Lemieux had 14 goals. And again, there's a big, strong guy that knows how to shoot the puck, knows how to get himself into an area, where he's dangerous.
Mark, Rick came out last night and his opening line included, 5 or 6 passengers. And then later in the media session, he comes back to 5 or 6 passengers, really on a question that's not all that related. So
he couldn't get the thought out of his mind.
So he had a talking. So he had a talking point. It's clear to say. When do you know when to pick that spot in the media and call out players, even if it's not by name, but
I think he's being very intelligent here, in terms of it's honest. I mean, everybody sees it right now. You need more, and I'm sure Chris Knobloch is over looking at the Oilers group and saying, yeah, we need 5 or 6 or 7 guys to be better.
Probably true.
As well. So, it's a testament to how hard it is to be good in the playoffs. It really is. And that's why our trophy, the Stanley Cup, is the toughest trophy to win, because these games are such battles. And you're seeing now, like the series is slowing down a little bit. You haven't got the blazing speed that there was in game 1, game 2, where everything just seemed to be on hyper speed. Right now, it's a lot more calculated. It's a lot more battle orientated, and it's a lot more fighting through for the puck or fighting through to keep people in check. And he's very honest. If we're going to win this series, we need everybody, and we need our top players to be our best players, because it's the old adage, if your best players aren't your best players, then you don't have as good a chance to win as when it's the opposite, when your best players are your best players. So Rick is pointing out somewhat the obvious, but he's not a guy that does this lightly. And I'll tell you what, I think sometimes it's the messenger too, and Rick has the credo of he has absolutely known what it takes to win at these crucial times. I mean, he's done it. He's lived it. And you look at Adam Foote, and he's done it. He's been the guy. He has done it. He knows. And to me, that's what guys like Rick and Adam have over people like me, who are kind of just also Rans. They know, and the players know that they know. And so, let's hope that message sinks in, and we see an inspired effort from those 6 or 7 Canucks that need to give that inspired effort.
Hey, honest question here, Coach. How many passengers can you have in the playoffs? Like, how many guys can you get over who are not giving you much and still win hockey games?
Well, I don't think you can ever withstand anybody playing terrible. And I don't think anybody's playing terrible. I mean, I look at Elias Pettersson, who's getting the bulk of this criticism here today. He made 2 or 3 great plays with the goalie out last night. I mean, his patience, his ability, the shot he let go from the half board. I mean, that was a perfect shot. And Pickard, he found a way to stop it. So, these guys aren't playing absolutely dog crap poor, but you need them to be better. You need them to be better. You need them to be impact players. And that's the same, as much as it's top players, you also need the guys that are coming in, like the Carlsons, and I thought Aman has been really quite good. So those guys gotta chip in, and it's those unlikely sources that give you the unlikely goals. And when those things happen, boy, that's what the dreams are made of right there. So it is a situation where guys, they just have to find a way, and every shift matters. So, you got to be ready each and every shift. You got to park the shift if it's a bad one. You got to get out there and put on your best foot forward if you're getting the next chance. And that's what the attitude has to be. And it's got to be determined effort, because you're not going to get anything unless it's determined effort.
JT Miller was down at 18 minutes. He's not one of the passengers for sure, but I'd be willing, if I'm coach, to let him have 21-22. Do you think that was Rick Tocchet just seeing that he's out of gas a little bit on that evening and not wanting to grind him to a nub?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of reasons why, I thought they were trying to play a game where they were sharing, the responsibility, and Rick's really looking at it as I see it anyways, as this is going to be a team win, and it has to be a team win. And Chris Knobloch did the same thing, because the day before they tried to win by going to their big dogs, and they went to their big dogs and they just played the living hell out of those guys, Draisaitl and McDavid. And this time it was more balanced. And I think when that happens, sometimes you need the big dogs to be great. And that's a feel that the coach has to have. But most of the time you want your team to play team tough, to play team connected, to be all in it together. And it is the togetherness that makes it so special. As I said earlier, this trophy is a tough one to win. Each series is so hard to win. And now we're in the glory days of this thing, because it's now down to a 2 out of 3. The Canucks have home ice advantage. They got to take advantage of it. You play each game as it comes forward, and they have to use all their efforts right now to focus in on what they need to do tomorrow night.
If you're Rick Tocchet, are you happy that you best of 3? You got home ice. Are you happy enough here?
You like the spot here, Coach?
Oh God, yeah. And that's the thing. Like you can't lose perspective. Yeah, last night, that's tough. It's really tough. But 15 minutes later, you gotta forget it. And I tell you what, these players fight through this 82 game schedule, and that's what the 82 game schedule teaches you. It teaches you that you can't belabor the crap games. You can't belabor them. You learn from them. You maybe give real strong messages like Rick gave last night, and you hope that everybody connects the dots. And that's what it has to happen. You got to connect the dots. We got to be ready for tomorrow night. That's got to be the refrain from inside that Canuck dressing room from everybody.
And it was the refrain from the coach last night, who, after he was done talking about the Passenger, said it's playoff hockey and next game is a new game. And we can't wait for it. Mark, know you got a busy day there. Thank you for the time, sir. And we'll catch up here soon.
All right. Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.
Hey, everybody. If you're enjoying what you're seeing here, then follow along with Sekeres and Price on YouTube. I promise more content coming.
The kids call it subscribe on YouTube.
Well, how about liking it?
Do that as well. Smash it right now.